started.
No worries. Okay, no worries. Let's start off with e4. c5. Okay, let's see what kind of Sicilian we get here. There's different ways that black can proceed. You can go to a Scheveningen by pushing the d pawn, a con by pushing the a pawn, or knight to c6. So it looks like a con Sicilian. Let's just do the normal development here with the con. Queen c7 is what I play in this position. Knight to c6 is okay and transposes back into a Taimanov. I'm not sure after knight c6 if I defend the knight or if I take. Maybe I'll just take for the sake of simplicity. Okay, pawn to d6 is another way of playing that. Starts to look a little bit like a Scheveningen. Now queen c7. Okay, so I played that line in a different order, move order, with queen c7 first and then pawn to d6. He has no knight on f6, so the Keres attack doesn't carry any punch here. So I think this is okay for black, but maybe a little cramped. Yeah, now we can put the knight there. It's hitting this pawn. I don't want to push the f-pawn because he can get a bishop here quickly and take advantage of that pin. Or at least if I do move the f-pawn, I want to move my king first. But let's think about the bishop. Do I want to play bishop to g4? g5. Or do I want to put something behind the pawn and threaten maybe rook here and threaten pawn to e5? Is that a threat? Actually, it's not yet a threat, is it? I would have to play bishop to f4, which is not advisable because e5 would fork them. Okay, well, let's think about this. e5, pawn takes, and knight back, probably just pushes the pawn. So guess I do bring my bishop out after all. I think that's an okay position for the rook, but it didn't didn't have the intended effect. I wasn't thinking all that clearly. So maybe I do need to play king to h1 and pawn to f4. Maybe that's the way to make progress here. Okay, no worries is thinking. Castles, yeah. So king h1. He has this attack, this double attack with queen to b6, hitting my knight and hitting my pawn, but I have knight to b3. So do I take, I guess? I don't like that. Let's back up and see if he wants to damage his pawn structure. I didn't like it because his bishop on this diagonal was hitting these two knights. I could probably defend that with knight back to e2, defending the knight, but bishop and queen are both looking at that knight then. So I think I don't want to allow a bishop onto the f6 square. I think I would rather push this pawn forward. And if the queen went to, I mean, if the bishop went to g3, or if the pawn went to f4, then I can get in that e5 move. That's what I'm thinking. So f4 here. Notice he avoided playing knight to c6, so he doesn't want me to trade off that knight. So it's still not safe to play e5. Pawn takes, knight takes, supported by the queen. Although I could pin the, well, he moved the knight away. I was going to say I could pin with the bishop maybe, but he has a check. Yeah, not clear. Now I can play e5, and I think I should. He can take my bishop. I'll take back with the queen, I guess. I'll defend these two knights. He can, if he moves the knight, I might trade the knight, hitting his queen, and then take the bishop. Maybe I should just take the bishop first, but trading the knight, yeah, seems to avoid some pawn damage for me, so that's probably the way I would play that. But I think knight d5 there's probably the better move here, because the knight defends the bishop, so if I take back he can... Well, the queen's defending the bishop anyway, yeah, so he could go elsewhere with that knight. He maybe could go here. He decides to grab my bishop first, okay. Let's take back. Okay, so black has won the bishop pair, but I think I will get a bishop off the board when I take this guy, and I think he'll be left with a bad bishop. That's my plan. I'll trade off the dark squared bishops, and he'll be left with this bad bishop, and I'm hoping I'll have some advanced pawn here to cramp his defense of the king side, so I can start attacking on the king side, maybe along the f-file. 6.5 minutes to 4 minutes. So he's been using up considerable time, but we're still, well, we still have time. We still have time here. Usually the openings go a little faster, so I have some extra time at this point. And is there a real difficulty here? Does he have trouble finding a square for his knight? He can't go to d4. Well, actually, he could go almost anywhere because it's a discovered attack on my bishop, right? So if I take his knight, he takes my bishop. That's probably pretty good. So if he does something like put his knight on a square where I would normally take it, I might just take the bishop instead and leave the knight there, and he'll have to move the knight again. He takes the pawn first. This can lead to trouble. I've had problems like this before. Because it opens up the d-file, and then there's this pin on the d-file. And I had trouble in over the board game. Got into trouble with that kind of sequence. In a Sicilian, it was in a classical Sicilian. Yeah, that's something I forget. That exchange and then rook to d8. I should try and remember that idea. I think here it doesn't win any material because this knight is not under threat. He could attack it, but his knight is under threat. Still, I think that was a good choice to trade first. That opens up the d-file for his rook, so gives him some play there. But now he really has to move the knight, right? And then after I take the bishop and he takes back with the queen, even if his knight is attacking the pawn, say if he had played knight to g5, the queen is no longer attacking it, and I should have time to defend it, maybe just dropping my knight back to f3.
Server
and I think it should be a good position for me. Okay, so we get this. So that was my plan, to trade off that bishop, so I will. And now let's deal with this pin situation and think about how I want to get to the king. Maybe queen to... Let's see, his knight can come out to g5. Queen g3, I'm thinking. It supports this pawn, and it looks at g7. And then I could even think about lifting my rook up. Yeah, so this rook lift, let's think about it. I mean, it defends the knight, which is under attack, so I like it for that. And it lifts the rook, so it seems to kill two birds with one stone. But what if he plays something that attacks the rook, like pawn to, or even a knight move. Knight here, I guess I bring the rook over, and the pawn up. Take the rook, the knight. He takes my knight. That should be okay. Pawn up. So it's rook here, and pawn to f5 is what I have to worry about. I could take en passant. He takes back, and then I could move the knight. Yeah, I just want to get my rook into the game. Want to activate my pieces. And I'm thinking this battery of queen and rook on the g file should be dangerous. Yeah, and taking en passant, actually, that is kind of a threat. Well, you'd have to take back with his queen. Okay, so do I want to trade queens here? Is there something else? I was thinking, can I play rook to g4? His queen, where does his queen go to defend the g pawn? I mean, his queen can take, no, he can't even take here. Yeah, so that was a mistake, right? He is trading the queen for a rook and a knight. Correct, he got a knight and he will get a rook here. Knight, rook, queen. He has knight, rook, knight, bishop. Okay, so he has a knight and a bishop for the queen. Let's kick that knight. I don't like that knight there, and I want to try and get something going on that open g file again. This makes it a complicated game. But I should be a little better. A queen is supposed to be a little better than a knight and a rook, or a bishop and a rook in this case. So, rook. Do something clever to attack his rook. Knight here. Let's just activate the rook. I could also play a queen to the f file and go after the f pawn here. So he's defending against that, and that's pretty good. He'll bring his rook over or his bishop over to defend that. Let's see, I can't leave this pawn hanging. Let's get off that rook. See if he wants to. My knight is covering the check here. He could. He could put his rook on the second rank, but then I would play rook to g4, so I think he needs to trade. Take back. Hopefully I'm holding on to everything. And now I'll get my knight in the game. Knight to e4. He's covering e4. Knight to e4 to d6 would be good. That would coordinate on f2 as well. I need to kind of open things up. Okay, so first let's unpin that pawn. Okay, his knight jumps there. I guess we're going for that endgame. I'm expecting he will trade here. No. Well, that's true. So my queen is doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and it's having trouble doing all of them. Let's see. That's a good move. So knight here check. He takes, and I take back. He's not winning any material. So his knight is attacking my queen, it's attacking this pawn, and it's attacking this pawn. So that's pretty good. And my queen needs to also defend the knight, which is under attack from the bishop. So I can't really defend all of them. So I should choose. And I guess, or I move the knight and let him choose. I move the queen. Where do I go with the queen? Yeah, I'm going to move my queen and let him choose. Didn't expect that. That was a good move. Okay, so I get a free move with my knight now since he took there, but he can. He's going to fork my queen and my king, right, by playing knight there. So let's protect the fork and hit his knight. Look out for those forks. Knight g4 was a nasty threat. And so what is it now? It's he has one pawn and a rook and a bishop against the queen. Okay, so let's defend the pawn. Okay, so he's going there. Let's find another way to get to f2 if we can. Let's start with this move. His knight and his bishop are coordinating well. I'll start with this move. He can hit my queen from that square or that square. And with my queen, I'm just going to drop back. Looking at f7 again. He brings his rook over. So let's kick the knight. Where's the knight going? Knight could attack that pawn over there. I can defend with the queen. Kick and b3. Oh, I can take the knight if it goes there. Okay, so he's back to that square, and he's looking at forking the queen and the king again. Very annoying, this persistence. It's one thing you can do when you have less time, is you can often make a lot of threats. You can see them quickly. Okay, so can I play g4? G4 and bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes is winning for me. So g4, bishop moves, g5. This is really what I need to do, is open up these lines. Goes there, so let's kick the knight. Is the knight going to move with tempo? Yes, the knight can move with tempo against my queen, so I have to save the pawn. Say if I played here, he could go knight to a4, so his bishop is defending his knight there. He's good at this. Okay, let's push this pawn forward. And he got into that square. Okay, let's offer a trade. You want to trade that knight?
Check.
Yes, he does. Okay, so now it's pure queen versus bishop and rook. He's defending his pawns. Here, let's start attacking his pawns. With less stuff going on. He's attacking my pawn, huh? And when he takes there, it defends. I don't want to give up that pawn. Let's hold on to that pawn. And let's push. Now, let's not let this opportunity pass up. I don't want him. I'm surprised he moved the bishop. Maybe I could have chased it away. I was a little worried he could push that pawn all the way forward to a5 there and defend the bishop on b3. Push the pawn forward to a4 and defend the bishop on b3. So he's got a check here. I'm still going to push this pawn forward. I think it's a little dangerous for him to leave the rook off the back rank, lift the rook off the back rank. You know what he has is he has rook here. This guy is so full of tricks. He didn't play there. Let's see. There's some clever way to defend this pawn. Yeah, now he spots that idea. But I have the check now, so I guess this is okay.
Check. Check.
Oh, he spotted that. Yeah, this guy is too good.
Check.
So I really should have moved that pawn forward. I think I had a chance to move it forward. Okay, so there's this check here again. But what does it accomplish? There's a loose bishop and a loose rook. And he can defend it, yeah, with that move. And let's attack the pawn here. Defends it. Now there's this check.
Check.
Because he can't interpose with the bishop. Now what? So I think he's got a fortress here. The rook defends the bishop, defends the pawn.
Check. Check.
Yeah, I'm just kind of poking around a little bit. I guess this is a draw.
Check.
I didn't hear him move. had to move quickly. I'm out of time. Ah, so he's checking to see if I'm alert.
Check. Check.
I'm not trying for anything more. I don't want to lose on time. And anyway, I don't see anything better. So I am just doing the draw. And I guess I will let him drag it out if he wants to. I really should have won this
Check.
game.
Check.
They play a little too fast and loose there. And he's still fine. There's nothing much to do here.
Check. Check.
He still doesn't want to draw. This guy is amazing. Oh, boy. Well, this is a boring game. But I'm not going to lose it.
Check. 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 Game drawn.
Finally. Okay, I will upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.